Casino Share Intelligence.
Marketing data is no longer enough. You need actionable data, marketing intelligence. GCA has withdrawal data and personal information on almost 9 million gamers who withdrew more than $20 billion a year at 1,100 casinos. With this constantly updated data, we can tell you what's happening to your patrons when they're not only at your property, what's happening in the marketplace. In other words, what if you could see beyond your walls? Wouldn't you want to use this information aggressively to win more share? Casino Share Intelligence is that diagnostic tool to help you win more share. CSI combines GCA's unrivaled patron database with Diamond Stream's award-winning analytical processing power to improve your casino performance. CSI gives marketing, slots, host, and player development the large and detailed picture. CSI offers two complementary views of your casino's performance, a macro and a micro snapshot. The macro looks at the entire market and how your casino stacks up against your competitors. The micro product looks at the most valuable individuals in your market, and you will finally be able to see beyond your four walls. Let's start with MVP. MVP-SUMMARY lets you see how you're doing with your top 400 patrons in the aggregate. We give you a market view as well as a wallet view for 12 or 24 months. MVP-Detail lets you see for the first time what withdrawals your patrons are making when they're not at your property. You'll instantly see who's defecting or defected from you but still playing at your competitors. You can also see who's new to you, who's really big in the market. Finally, you can learn on an individual basis where you have enormous opportunity to capture more wallet share. Before looking at an individual's data, let's look at the chart on the left. Each triangle represents one of the top 400 players in your market who made at least one withdrawal from your property in the last 12 months. The x-axis is the total withdrawal amount over either 12 or 24 months. Withdrawals include everything we can track: credit card, debit card, check, and ATM withdrawals. The y-axis represents what percentage of the withdrawals were made at your property. The nearer the triangle is to the lower right, the greater the opportunity you have. The majority of casinos see triangles well below 50% wallet share, and as their value increases on the x-axis, the average loyalty level goes down. Gary Loveman coined the term player promiscuity and learned that the bigger the player, the less loyal he or she is to one property. We've confirmed this finding at numerous casinos. You can click on any of the triangles and pull up a person's information. John lives 26 miles away, took out $300,000 in the past 12 months, and only made one withdrawal at your casino. John is a high-potential, low wallet share patron of yours, since your share is only 0.5%. Now look at the chart where time is on the x-axis and the amount of John's cash withdrawals is on the y-axis. Each dot represents a week's worth of activity. If you'd like, you can change this to see a daily or 24-month view. Color and shape represent where he made the withdrawal. When he's not withdrawing at your property, he's making withdrawals in your region and in Vegas. Before CSI, you would have no way of knowing where John was when he wasn't with you. You would know he's such a big gamer both in terms of frequency as well as his average daily theo. In fact, he's probably not even in your players club, like more than 25% of the top 400. Rita's another example of someone in your battleground area where your casino has a better chance to capture more of her wallet. Like John, Rita only made one withdrawal with you, but many, at even a higher amount, at other properties. Red indicates it's one of your top 5 competitors. Like John, she's not a frequent visitor to Las Vegas. Again, CSI delivers real marketing intelligence. Your call to action is to find out what it would take for her to spend more time and money with you. Now let's look at Edward. Over the past 12 months, your wallet share is a modest 32%. However, if you look at the dot chart, you'll see that your share over the past months is 0. He's defected. With MVP, you can detect potential defectors before they leave you entirely. Now that you know he's still gaming, what will you do to win him back? On Jane's first visit, she withdrew $3,000. What level of offer would you make to her based on this one trip? With CSI, you don't have to guess. You now know Jane has potential as an MVP. Going forward, wouldn't you want to find players like Jane every month? If your casino is like most, the 80-20 rule applies. Most of your new patrons won't contribute much over their lifetime to you, but some will contribute a lot. Finding them fast and working hard to convert them can be hugely profitable to you. Right now, Tammy is completely loyal to you. Wouldn't you want this tool to see if she begins to visit your competitors? I've just shown you real-life examples of players with great potential. Wouldn't you agree that your hosts, marketing, and player development could use this information to capture more share from some of them? But your CMO might want to look at the top 400 in a different way, what the aggregate wallet share is, and how it's trending over time. The chart on the left shows what's happening over the past 13 months for the top 400 patrons in your market. The y-axis shows what the aggregate monthly withdrawals are for your market area. This market was slightly down overall. Your property is in red at the bottom. Each of your top 5 biggest competitors stack on top, followed by Vegas, and then all other casinos. This casino has one really large competitor. The right-hand graph shows how market or wallet share has grown with these MVPs over the past year. This casino has had success in growing its market share among the top patrons. But what about all patrons, not just the top 400?
Let's assume I'm the CMO and I want to understand what's happening in my market in terms of market share. I can see based on the withdrawals in my market among all those living within 150 miles that the overall market is down slightly year over year. This probably isn't a big surprise to me, but what would be a surprise to me is to understand how variable my market share has been over that time period. Obviously, I want to know why my market share is declining over the past 4 or 5 months, and I can use CSI to help identify some of the areas where I'm gaining share and where I'm losing share. The first segment I'm going to look at is the 26 to 100 mile radius segment around my property. I can see for the 26 to 100 mile radius segment around my property that the overall market is in decline over the past 13 months. However, the good news is that over the past 9 months or so, my share has increased from just under 7% to slightly over 10%. So that must mean that I'm having a decline in my market somewhere. I can use the filters to identify where that is. By looking at the 101 to 150 mile radius, I can now identify where I'm actually losing share. Now looking at this segment, I can see that the segment overall is down slightly year over year, but I can see that my share has declined dramatically over the past several months. This is where my problem is. Turning to patron share, this is a head count. I can look at the number of GCA patrons making credit card cash advance withdrawals each month over the past 13 months, and I can see that in my market, about 40,000 people a month are making withdrawals. Of those, about 1,000 a month are making withdrawals at my property. Over the past 13 months, I can see what my patron share has been doing, and I can see that it was in decline, but over the most recent couple months, it's actually trending back positively. I can use the same filters to try to identify where my patron share is increasing or decreasing. Now, let me look only at those patrons who made at least one credit card cash advance withdrawal in the last month and understand what my wallet share is of those patrons of mine. My patron's wallet has actually declined somewhat over the past 13 months, which is consistent with the market. However, my wallet share has actually increased, although recently it's been rather choppy. I can, again, use the same filters to go in and try to identify where the areas are that I'm gaining and where the areas are that I'm declining. Now I want to look at how my Atlantic City casino is performing as far as its market share is concerned for each of the 5-digit zips surrounding my property. I can see that immediately around my area I have fairly significant market share. However, there's a 5-digit zip not too far away where my share is fairly low, and that may not make sense to me. It may be that I'm simply underinvesting in that segment and I simply need to make a quick change to my reinvestment matrix. Finally, I want to look at what my market share is, a quick snapshot. I can see that my share is here, my patron share, my wallet share. I can look at what the changes since last month, and then I can look to see what the changes on a year-over-year basis and see where I'm performing relatively well and where I'm not. I could apply the filters here, but more often I'm likely to do this through the market share tab.
As you've just seen, with CSI you will have the intelligence you need to prioritize where to spend your scarce marketing resources and how to evaluate how well you performed with those programs. Did you really move the needle or not? Whether general manager, CMO, player development, slots, or host, CSI answers your many important questions. High-value opportunity patrons, newbies, defectors. With CSI, how much more of their wallet will you capture? Call today for a live demonstration using your casino and market data in a real-time display of CSI's power. Casino Share Intelligence, actionable data that creates lasting value. GCA, transactions that count.